Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. We are giving other people joining our meeting some time to get logged in. And so officially we won't start for a little bit, but we want to thank those of you who have already logged in and that were on time. Just give us a couple of minutes. We're still giving everybody else a chance. So welcome.
That was well said, Phil.
Are you going to talk?
That was a good welcome. Wasn't that a good welcome?
Are you going to talk about the Dodgers again? Because
I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about the Dodgers.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to root for teams that aren't playing.
It's hard to root. We have hope, but we have hope.
We have hope.
It's coming.
We have hope. There you go.
Baseball's on its way.
All right.
It's not a blessed hope if you're talking about the Dodgers, but it's a hope.
It's a wonderful hope. Oh man, is it a good hope? Hey. Blessed hope.
They almost did it.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. A couple of times. They gotta get some good teams.
There you go.
They got a good thing going on.
So as new people are logging on, we just want to let you know that we'll be starting our official time in just a few minutes. And as many of you may know, sometimes when you're trying to log on to these meetings, you have a snag here and there, and it delays what you're trying to do. So we want to give those people who are anxious to be a part of this the time to do so. So just hang in with us. And if we say something up here that makes you laugh, we hope that's true. We hope we can make you laugh, but we're not guaranteeing anything. Because, some people, we're only funny in our hearts. We're not funny otherwise.
Just funny looking.
Wow.
Just funny looking, right?
You just crushed my heart there. I thought I was hilarious all the time. But never.
Pretty funny. Yeah, you're pretty funny. That works.
The joy of the Lord is our strength. Amen?
Minutes past.
All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started, and hopefully those who are still trying to log on will be able to do that. We have an echo in here. All right. Thanks for joining us today. We want to just reach out and say we appreciate your effort as we are trying to communicate with you in a way that is effective. God is good, and we're working together to bring about this new school, Rancho Santa Margarita Christian School. We know you have a lot of questions, and some of them we have definite answers for. Others we are working toward, and we'll have those answers for you as soon as we possibly can. What's school going to look like in the fall and the whole situation with COVID-19? What we are basically doing right now is investigating every possible scenario and preparing for that. We plan to have a document out to you hopefully within the next couple of weeks that will detail that, and hopefully that will bring comfort to you, but also know that we're very concerned about it and we are anxiously trying to bring things together. We're looking at other schools, we're looking within, we are just trying to gather as much information as we can. This is a very interesting, uncertain time, and so we appreciate your patience. But we do want you to know that we are working hard on that. We've got about 3 months really before school starts. So we do have some time to vet this out. But as soon as we get that information, we're going to get that to you. So let's go ahead with our panel today. If you were not with us last week, we want to introduce our admin team for RSM Christian. And I want to briefly reintroduce you, Pastor Ryan Oddo. He's the Bridge Church pastor, senior pastor, and our spiritual covering for our school. And then we have Lori Jensen. Our new principal is coming from Saddleback Valley. And Mr. Mike Margie was wrapping some things up with his current school, so he's not joining us today, but he'll be back with us next week. We want to make sure that we keep this very personal and that you know who we are, what we're about. And so today we want to give Mrs. Jensen the opportunity to share with her from her heart to you where she's come from, what her journey is. And so she does have a time constraint, so she's going to try and fit that into the best as possible. But over the months, you'll have a chance to get to know her even better. So Mrs. Jensen, we'd like for you to share from your heart with us today.
All right. Thanks, Phil. All right. Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? So thank you for letting us into your homes or wherever you might be. But thank you for being with us today to have this time to talk And for those parents who I have met already on campus, it's been a pleasure to meet you, and you've all been so welcoming and so kind. So thank you for doing that. I just wanted to briefly share a little bit about myself so you could get to know me just a little bit better. I've been married for, oh gosh, I'm going to get this wrong, 35 years. And I have two daughters, one who lives in Washington, D.C. and works for a nonprofit, and one who lives in Wisconsin. And I had to make sure I said Wisconsin because she corrects me all the time. So my husband and I are kind of empty nesters. We're just never home long enough to enjoy that empty nest stuff. But it's been a pleasure to raise two amazing young daughters. Those of you who with kids, with daughters who are launching out on their own, it's a blessing to see what God does in their lives once they leave your home and continue to grow. And it's just been a blessing. I live in San Clemente. I have lived there for 36 years, and I absolutely love it down there. We don't have air conditioning in our house, so it's kind of nice that we have that sea breeze. But I also wanted to let you know where I'm coming from and how excited I am to join RSM Christian. I've been in education for, oh gosh, 35 years, 36 years. I was a classroom teacher for 18 years, and I became principal at Saddleback Valley for elementary in 2001. I was blessed with the addition of overseeing junior high in 2014. So it has been a wonderful journey. I'm grateful to everything that I learned while I was at Saddleback. Prior to being at Saddleback, as I said, I taught for 18 years in the classroom at different school sites. And so I've taught kindergarten, first, second, and fourth. My student teaching was in third. So I understand what it's like to be in the classroom with those kids every day. And one of the greatest things I love doing as a principal is going back into the classroom to sub for the teachers on occasion, to sit in and watch their lessons and to participate in their lessons. My degree is actually in business administration economics from Point Loma. I received my teaching credential from UCI, and my master's is in educational leadership from Concordia. So I've been in the classroom. I understand what's going on. I've been as an administrator, and my dream and my goal to joining RSM is I want to help the teachers become the best teachers that they can be. You already have amazing teachers. I've been meeting with them one-on-one. I've been meeting with them in groups. But if you know anything about education, there's always so much more to learn. And there's always so many things that we could do differently and enhance our learning. So my goal is to come alongside the teachers to help them in areas that they personally feel that they need to grow. Where we've already had some of those discussions in the area of technology, in the area of better differentiation in the classroom and integrating in the classroom. So I'm excited to work with these amazing women, and I can't wait to get on campus full time with them to do that. I also, some of you might be asking, well, what's your philosophy of education? As it points to the students directly, and these students are a gift from God. Our number one goal is to educate them, to go out, and I believe I said it before, go out and change the world for the Lord. But we need to educate them. They need to be knowledgeable in the area of math, in science, in language, whatever we are teaching them in. But our most important goal is to make sure that they know what their identity is in Christ and who they are in Christ. And I love it when kids take a Bible verse and when it says, you are the light of the world, have that child put their name in that. You are the salt of the earth. Have that child put, I'm Susie, I'm the salt of the earth because I'm going to change this world for the Lord. And that's what I love to see, that we can help you as parents. And this is what this is. This is really a partnership with you. We are not to take your place in raising your children. Our goal is to come alongside you and raise these amazing young men and women so that you know when you launch them into the world as college graduates, you're launching them knowing that they are fully prepared in every area of their life. And that's just something that I find is so exciting. And when the students come back after they've graduated, when they start having kids and just say, I just want to tell you what an impact this school, this teacher, you made on my life and why I'm living the way I'm living right now. So we want to educate our children. We want to partner with you to educate the children, but we want to partner with you to raise godly young men and women to make a difference for the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me in a nutshell. If you have anything you want to ask me specifically, I have an email address now for here. It's ljensen@missionhillscs.org. Please email me. I love to email with people. And if you're on campus, stop by and introduce yourself. And I'd love to meet you. And I'm excited to work alongside all of you. So thank you.
Amen. I have to say that my collaboration with Mrs. Jensen has been rather fruitful, and I'm enjoying our time together. So I'm thankful to the Lord for her coming and being on our team. It's going to really be a blessing to all of us. Well, it's time to answer some of your questions. And I know you have a number that have already been submitted in advance. And you also have the option of submitting questions during the call today. Please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to submit a question. We would ask that you do not use the chat function or raise your hand, as we are not able to respond in real time to your comments. So we are on a time restraint. We will want to be done no later than 3 o'clock, so understand that we have that as a guidance for you. So we have some questions here. I'm going to read them to you, and then we'll have the appropriate person on the panel respond. Question 1, has faculty been confirmed yet? Specifically, will there be any changes, additions, junior high faculty?
All right, so that's my question. I am in the process of meeting with teachers right now. In fact, right before we went on air, I was just finishing up meeting with 3 of the teachers. The faculty changes will probably, the ones that you will see will just be faculty moving from one grade level to another, which is partly at their request and partly because of school needs. Specifically in the area of junior high faculty, I don't see any changes as for the teachers that are currently there. We might add a teacher to help round out as student body grows and needs have changed. We might do that. But for right now, when you see the faces on campus, they will be familiar faces to you. They just might be sitting in a different grade level than what you might be used to them in. But again, that's based on conversations that we're having specifically with the teachers on their desires.
That's great. Thank you. Question 2, why did RSMCS decide to hire 2 new administrator positions when the school is so small to begin with? It doesn't seem like our enrollment can support adding these positions financially yet. I'm going to answer part of that question, then I'm going to ask Pastor Ryan to kind of follow up with it. Upon coming to this school, one of the things that I discovered was the foundation and the people in key positions were positions that I wanted to have coming from even much larger schools. Therefore, to set the foundation to present the very best options for our families, we want to make sure that we have key people in place. And so as we've vetted through all this, we have found that the best thing to do is have key people in places that will benefit you and benefit the support of our teachers. And so I'm excited that we have the foundation. With a good foundation, we can send a message to the Lord that we're trusting Him in faith to provide the students that are going to support us financially. But we're also looking at it from a technical standpoint and from a budget standpoint. And we believe that God is answering that as our increase in students are already evident. We're doing well with our enrollment so far. So I just wanted to let you know that it's a foundational thing that we're building on. We can't build the walls until the foundation is strong. And so I'm excited about the fact that we have this good foundation to build on, and it'll ensure that we have a better future. So that's one of the reasons that we've done that. So I wanted to let Pastor.
That was well said, Phil. And one of the best parts of this journey so far has been seeing this team come together, seeing them work together, getting to meet Lori and have her also bring what God's gifted her with to our family here. A lot of that. So like all things, you kind of walk in that okay, what is the best case scenario? What do we want? What's ideal to provide the very best care for not only students, but teachers and administration, all of it? What's the very best scenario? And at the same time, how do you afford it? How do you pay for it? And so we're in a building season. So you're at that beginning, like any new business starting up, saying, okay, what is our goal? What are we after? And so we kind of took the approach from both ends. How does our budget, how do we structure it? How do we come up with a model that will make this work? At the same time, what is it that we're hoping for? And how do you build for growth? And so we kind of took all that matrix and put it together, and even especially the people resources of who God has brought to us, and said, what is the best way to arrange a team for maximum care, maximum potential for growth? And anyways, all of those thoughts were brought into consideration. We've looked at it from all of those different angles as well. And so I think probably the best way to understand it, though, is that we're able to build a team that gives us the best possible care for students, teachers, and parents. And we're really glad to be able to do it.
All right, thank you. The next question is about curriculum, and it says that last year that I said that the school would be moving to a complete curriculum. Is this still the case, or will each grade still select the curriculum they find works best? I'm going to share, this will take a little time for me to express because there's some philosophy in here. The most important thing for me as a school administrator is consistency. And yes, we are moving toward something that's consistent. And actually, when it comes to Christian school curriculum, we go to the Word of God. And in Proverbs, it says the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So everything we do is centered around biblical integration that supports our curriculum. And there is curriculum out there that's what we call curriculum centered. It means that it's really dependent upon the curriculum to do the instruction. And then there's a philosophy that says we are teacher-centric. And our school is teacher-centric. So what we're looking for is curriculum that supports consistency from grade level to grade level. And if we're having 2 sections per grade level, that those 2 teachers are extremely consistent across the board, so that no matter what class they're in, those kids are getting the same curricular instruction. And this way it keeps it where we can evaluate the curriculum from year to year. We use standardized testing for that and other methods to make sure that our curriculum is as strong as possible. But here again, our goal is to have teachers that know how to teach anything. Well, there's a saying that says if you're a good teacher, you can teach anything. So that is where our emphasis is on. Consistency between sections of the grade, consistency between grade level to grade level, and also just the ability to present something that is biblically integrated as much as possible. So they say, well, are you going to have Christian school curriculum? We would like to have Christian school curriculum as much as possible. My personal thing is we had 100%, that would be great. But we can't always use that as the final decision maker. We have to do what's best for your kids academically, but also understand that we are preparing our teachers well to be the instructors. And it's not just dependent upon curriculum, it's dependent upon their skill levels. So I hope that answers your question. I could talk about this for a very long time, so I won't do that. But I hope that answers your question and gives you more of an idea of what we're thinking about and the direction that we're going. Any parents that want to have a further discussion with me on that, I'd love to spend time talking to you about it because I'm passionate about that. All right. I guess I'm looking to someone else to read the next question.
Oh, I'm reading it? Okay. I know the preference or goal is to not to have combo classes, but what's the minimum class size threshold that will require a grade class to be turned into a combo class? So it's more you.
We stated to you that upon the initial contact with you and information that we gave you is that our goal is to not have combo classes next year, and we are going to stick with that. As far as the minimum number in a class, that number can vary. And so an example, if we have a class of 25 kids, we're going to split it, 12 and 13 between the teachers. if we have a class of 15 and we can look at our budget, we would still split that class and we'd have two very, very small classes, or we would have a small class of 15, 14 students, which is still well below the threshold of a maximum to teach well. So, so we're God willing, combo classes are not going to be part of our school from here on out. So that's our goal, and we're going to stick to that and try our very best to make sure that we provide small classes that meet the needs of our students and our parents.
Okay. Yeah, and I would echo that too as well, because looking at the enrollment, I don't believe our enrollment this year is going to necessitate having combo classes because the numbers have gone up. But again, Phil and I would look at the budget and see if it makes sense. But our goal is to not have combo classes next year so that the teachers can teach to the best of their ability. The students can learn to the best of their ability, also keeping in mind that we do have a budget that we need to meet. All right. So this next question is about uniforms. Have any decisions been made yet? Will we be able to wear our Mission Hills Christian School logoed uniforms at all? In fact, we just had a conversation before we came on camera. We are still deciding about the plaid, but the thing that won't change is if your child is wearing khaki skirt, khaki pants, navy skirt, navy pants, those are all going to stay the same. So you don't need to have that initial outlay of buying a new plaid unless your child wants to wait for that new plaid. The polo shirts, the policy is going to be the same whether you're from Mission Hills or Saddleback. We want to show unity. So your polo shirt, yes, we'll need to have the new logo on it. And on Fridays, we will still do spirit shirts. We will create new spirit shirts. So Fridays will be spirit shirts and jeans day. But we do want to be as consistent as possible, keeping in mind the cost that you've already laid out for uniforms. But again, if you have the khaki or the navy, those are options that are still going to be there. So those are still viable options for you, which hopefully will cut down on costs as well.
Awesome. Very good. Question 6, when will we see any of those new branding, logo / design concepts for the school campus? And can I just tell you how cool this is? It's super fresh. I actually stopped. I was in the middle of a Zoom call so I could jump on this Zoom call that was actually going through those designs. Now, our logo is available. You can see that now, what we've been working on with the logo design and the new RSM and the Christian school part to that. So that is on the website now. So that's becoming fresh, and it's going to become even fresher. We just got the finals on that today. But the concept, the design concepts for the campus are literally being discussed right now, and they look amazing. So the campus refresh looks very clean, looks really fresh. We're super excited about it. I don't know how long it will take to get from this conversation to like a storyboard or a concept board that we can have and put somewhere for everyone to see, or maybe even online for you to see. But I wouldn't imagine it would take longer than a week, probably less than that. That's just my guess. I'm not on the call right now, so I don't want to speak for them, but it looks great and great design. I'm super pleased that it's clean and fresh and really updates our campus. So we will show you those as soon as we get them, but I can tell you this first pass at them looks amazing, and I'm really excited about it.
Amen. All right, that's cool. Last week, Mr. Margie mentioned the school will be involved with choosing a mascot. When will this happen? Well, we definitely have come to the conclusion that it's not going to be the Dodgers. So we didn't think that would go over well with the Angel fans. With that said, it's a process that we really do want to get the kids involved with. And so the mascot has not been selected yet, but we want to, over the summer, we want to be able to cultivate and use our technology to get opinions and different things. And it's really important to us and to our staff that the kids are part of that. It's going to be their mascot. So we want to make sure that they're plugged in. So we're working on it. We do have the other branding, but that mascot's coming, and we know how important it is. So we're open for ideas. Be comfortable submitting ideas.
But
And-
not banana slugs. That's already used.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to be the banana slugs.
or the aardvarks. We're
Yeah.
not going to. That
Yeah,
was
no.
chosen already
No.
too. So there you go.
Or the anteaters, you don't want that one
No,
either.
no,
Yeah,
no.
and no anteaters. So, Mrs. Jensen, would you give your email again to our families so that they can get a pen and pencil and write it down, or put it on your iPad or whatever it is. So
Yes, so my email address is ljensen, Jensen, at missionhillscs.org. So if you already have Mission Hills email addresses in your directory or your contact list, you just need to add the L, Jensen, Jensen, in front of that. And I look forward to hearing from you. So the next question, I can answer this one. How many students are enrolled for the fall? So at the end of the school year, there were 133 Mission Hills students who had re-enrolled for this coming school year. As of today, we have 179 enrolled, and there are still 22 to 25 that have not completed the enrollment process. So once we add the 22 to 25, we should be over 200. And that's just the beginning of our enrollment. We will continue to enroll all year long. So please be praying for that, because it's going to be exciting to have so many kids back on campus.
thank you. Okay, we have another question coming in here. It says, can you share which grades will have more than one class based on enrollment? Do we have that in our heads right now? Are we clear on that?
I have it preliminary in my head right now. So right now, the one grade level that appears to still be one class per grade level is fourth grade. So if you know any fourth grade kids out there, invite them to join us, because it's going to be awesome. But everyone else, at this point, we're moving towards 2 classes in those grade levels, but fourth grade right now is still at 1. So, and that will fluctuate with, during the summer.
Okay, curriculum again. Will we still see Bob Jones University as the majority?
Well, for next year's budget, I don't believe we are going to bring in any new or additional curriculum. So the BJU that we're using right now will stay BJU. But I also wanted to piggyback on something that Phil had said earlier. I think sometimes people confuse curriculum with textbooks, and the curriculum is your curricular program. It is not fully reliant on the textbooks that you choose. So the textbooks that we have currently, we will continue to use, but that helps drive our curriculum, but that is not our sole basis for curriculum. Our teachers, as Phil said, are our living curriculum, and they evaluate the needs of the students, what the standards are, where our kids need to be in order to move on forward to the next classroom and the next grade level well equipped. So for right now, we are not foreseeing any changes in our curriculum. And another piece that we need to also think about is, as Phil said, a teacher can teach any textbook because they are the living curriculum. A teacher should also, if you work at a Christian school, you should be able to do biblical integration naturally, no matter what textbook or novel that you're reading. You should be able to tie, for instance, The Outsiders, which some 8th graders read. Can you tie The Outsiders characters to the creation of man, to the fall of man, to the redemptive story of Christ, and make them understand that this is God's world, and everything that we learn about can we look at through the lens of what God is trying to teach us? Because our goal is, if they move to a secular university, can they still look at a textbook which will not be biblical based at a Christian university? Can they still look at that and see where God is in all of this, and how to decipher what they're learning through the lens of godly wisdom? And that should be our goal all the way around. That was a really long answer to that question. I'm sorry. But for right now, we aren't moving away from any of the Bob Jones that we currently have on campus.
Thank you for that, and I hope that makes you feel a little more confident. There's a question up here that says, Mission Hills Christian School students might be nervous with changes would it be possible for the school to prepare a video explaining changes to ease the concerns? Let me address this in a global sense. We believe that God has brought these schools together, and it is clear that he's brought the church and the school together as one. But it was also very clear that God would bring about a name change. And let me just share this concept with you. In the Bible, whenever God ever did anything that was a massive change in a person's life, there was a name change that was associated with it. Abraham to Abram, Jacob to Israel, Saul to Paul in the New Testament. So biblically, the concept of a new name means a new beginning. So, but the question is, will that name make other changes that we don't want to see changed? And the answer to that question is, we are going to honor the legacy of each organization. And we're going to be putting together some kind of a monument in some form that talks about the history of each school and the history of the bridge and how we came together. We're not forgetting our past. We're honoring our past with what we're doing. We're honoring it by recognizing that this is a God thing that came together, and that God is bringing a new thing into our community. So on the other hand, current students that might have concerns, if you would like for us to put together some kind of video that talks about those changes, let me make a bold commitment. I'd like to make a promise to you that we'll put something together by July 1st. Okay, we'll put something together that'll give us a little time, as a lot of questions have not been answered. But we want to give you the answers to questions that won't change. I'm big on telling you what we're going to do that won't change. So we want you to feel like you're coming back. It's a new school, but it's the same community. It's the same culture. The reason we came together in the first place and were able to quickly come to this decision is because Saddleback Valley was so in alignment with Mission Hills, and Mission Hills was so in alignment with the bridge that this was not a hard decision for us to make. And here's the whole thing. Our culture is who we are. Our culture will not change. We will fight for our culture to remain the same. It's just going to get better. Mrs. Jensen has some great ideas. And Mr. Margie, you know him, he's going to come in with some different facets. And working with Pastor Ryan, he's very visionary and very creative. And when I get around those people, even my creative juices start to flow as well. So the pastoral staff of the bridge is also very innovative and creative. And I can tell you this right now, before the rocks cry out, we're gonna have some massively good changes that will not change our culture. Our culture is to have a Christian community that is strong, a Christian community that is committed to Jesus first, a Christian community that is committed to the discipleship model, and at the same time be open to who God brings into our community for us to minister to. In fact, I'd like to go ahead and address that question just so you know my experience here. It's been 1.5 years, and I've never interviewed a new family who wasn't in alignment with our philosophy of Jesus first and discipleship model. That will continue. Those families that I've interviewed with, if some of them are on a spiritual journey that's not quite where we want them to be, but they bring their kids to our school because they want their kids to have what we're offering. And therefore it strengthens our community, and they are strengthened, and we're better as a result of it. So we want you to know that we're committed to that. And that's something that's going to stay the same and not change. And we're going to continue to do what we've always done in that area. So I hope that helps those students who are watching this. We love you. You're what we're about. We're not about us. We've already done school. We're here to help you do school, and we're here to help you prepare your calling in your life and then your career second. So be assured, it's the same culture coming from Saddleback Valley, and it's the same culture that was here. So other than name and maybe a mascot change, if you can adjust to that, everything else is going to feel the same because we're committed to that.
Okay. Will the eighth grade, next question, will the eighth grade have its own class, and will they be changing classrooms? I will confirm with that. I don't understand the part about will they have their own class. So I'm assuming you mean there were 7th and 8th graders in a mix of classes last year. Is that correct?
No. Let me answer that.
Okay. Good.
Our 8th grade class coming up is large enough. In junior high, we start off the day with homerooms. And so let's say you have 24 kids in a class. 12 of them will meet in one homeroom, 12 will meet in another. But junior high is what we call departmentalized. Therefore, for many of the classes, they will be together. There might be one class for Bible, but math, we could split them into 2, maybe even 3. For language arts, you'll be in 2. You may be studying the same things, but you'd be in 2 separate classrooms when that subject takes place. Same thing with history. PE, yeah, we're going to be together on that. Chapel, we're going to be together on that. But our sections will be vigorous and good, and you'll have homerooms that are not all together. But then again, you'll have some things that are.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so the schedule that that 8th graders and 7th graders currently have is pretty much the schedule that we're going to keep. But as Mr. Lewis said, sometimes if you have a class of 30 8th graders, having a math class of 30 is not to the benefit of the students. In that subject especially, you need to have smaller groups that you're working with. So you will be changing classrooms, but we're not going to mix you in with the 7th graders unless it's a subject, I don't know,
An elective
that you might be taking. But 8th grade will be 8th grade, 7th grade will be 7th grade. You will just be changing from the teachers, and you'll be getting the best from those teachers when you change to those classrooms. So I hope that helps if any of you are concerned about that.
There's a question about, will we keep our tradition of teacher home visits? That's an interesting question, because when I got here, I had to ask, what does that mean? And I asked our staff what it meant, and they begin to explain to me that the teachers take the time to go and visit each student's home shortly after school starts. It is a very, very welcomed, and it's a sought after. We desire to continue to do that, and our teachers love it, and you as parents love that. So I'm not sure if we did it all the way through junior high. Does anybody in the room know if we did it all up through 6th grade? So it'll be elementary school, and yes, that's a very good tradition. And I was scratching my head when they first talked about that. I'm going, that sounds kind of weird to me. What's up with that? But then when they explained it and the passion that the teachers had made me understand that's something we will keep.
You want me to read that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, we'll go back just a little bit. I don't read that fast. Will the teachers that are currently teaching be staying in their current grade, or is there going to be a restructuring of which grade they teach? For the most part, yes. And I think we have some teachers who teach combo classes. They won't be teaching a combo class again next year. So I have met with them to which grade they feel the strongest about teaching. Some of them are in a grade level right now where they feel their gifts might be better in a different grade level. So when I'm meeting with the teachers, they've already asked to be considered for a different grade level. It doesn't mean that they're leaving the school. They've just asked, I'm in this grade level, but my gifts are probably more bent towards this grade level. Yeah. So for instance, today I met with Mrs. Vandy, who teaches 2nd and 3rd currently. Her passion is 3rd grade. Her greatest experience is with 3rd grade. So as I sat and talked with her, it became obvious that's the grade level for her to move to, and to be a single grade level teacher rather than splitting her time between 2nd and 3rd. She's done an admirable job this year when we talked about how she is structured and what she has done. But her passion is for 3rd. So that means that's where she's going to move to. But it's not going to be an arbitrary move. It will be done prayerfully with any of the other teachers that have requested to change a grade. So it's not just going to be an arbitrary thing. It's what's best for the students and what's best for the teacher.
We have a question here. It says, how many students can our campus hold? Plans for expanding property. I'm gonna do the first part of this, and then I'm gonna hand it off to Pastor Ryan. I've done the math, and if we have two sections per grade level at a maximum of 20 per section, which is 40 per grade, I think the math comes out to 360 for K through 8. And then we add preschool onto that. We can do right now, we're working toward 40 to 50 kids in preschool. So potentially we could break the 400 mark and still be comfortable. If that question's being asked because of the past population of the student body here, we're not going to have 500 kids on the campus. It won't work unless we have new facilities of some sort that would accommodate those students. But we're looking at what we have now, what our potential is, and then how much can we grow. We've got great potential, and keeping classes at a limit of 20 per grade is a tremendous way to do that. That's our goal. Will that always be that number? Not necessarily. We have to look at the needs of every school year's budget, and we have to look at the needs of ministering to as many people as we can in the community. But that's our goal, and that's the number that you can put in your head: 360 K through 8, and about 40 to 50 in preschool.
That's great. So about facilities, that is one of those great wins that this new season of all of us coming together. It's a new opportunity for us to really have that conversation and look at what is possible for us in maximizing the capacity of this campus, and certainly its long-term future and future goals. So, at this point, the question of, when can we, and, when will we be ready to build and some of that, I think that's a little foggy. Here's my heart. I've said it out loud before, so I'll say it again. As the school begins to step into its new form, and we get to know one another, and this team and the teachers are all growing together, the school growing healthier and healthier. If we see those things continue to take place as they take place over the next couple of years, my guess is maybe year 3, we're really able to start having a robust conversation and a plan about what could be and what that could look like. And maybe year 4, we can start a building project, and depending on how much favor the Lord puts into that and how fast he blesses it, who knows, year 5, year 6, we could begin something like that. So those are, for me, I realize it's a little bit of, that's in my head, but I couldn't know for sure. It will depend a lot on how much favor and how the Lord grows this school over the next few years, and allows it to continue to become. So anyways, that is the heartbeat though, and that's the goal. And so we might be able to see those things happen sooner. But all of that is kind of dependent on timing and growth and what we see as a school and our strength. So.
Awesome. There's a question about hot lunch. Well, let me give you a background as to why we do or we don't do hot lunch. If we're providing a hot lunch program, you have the option between an outside vendor or a on-campus prep, and the facilities will not support an on-campus kitchen. We just don't have that. So that option's probably never going to be there until we could build something that would accommodate that. So I would love for us to have a hot lunch program, and I think it would be great. The other option is to look at outside vendors, and I think we're very open to that. However, in the past, it's been really, really difficult to find somebody that provides food that your kids like, because I've had some of the menus from those outside vendors, and I don't like them. So we want to make sure that whatever we provide, you would be paying for that. We want to make sure it's something that your kids are going to eat and that you're going to be pleased with. So to say immediately, are we going to have a hot lunch program? It's still up in the air. So we're open to suggestions, and we're open to options of looking at other outside vendors. But at this point, that's the best answer that we can give you, as we've tried both. We've tried the outside vendors and they haven't worked, but we're willing to look at it again. because we would really like to be able to meet your needs. I know how nice it is to be able to send your kids to school and not have to brown bag it or lunch pail it. It's nice. It's great. So yes, we have a heart for that, but whether we can do it or not yet is still yet to be seen.
All right, our next question is sixth grade. Will this be a standalone class or a middle school model? Again, I'm meeting with the teachers, the junior high teachers, the elementary teachers. Our goal would be to bring sixth grade back completely under elementary. Enrollment, I think, will facilitate that, but our sixth grade enrollment is going up. We just, especially based on my conversations today with some of the teachers, they feel our sixth grade students their needs would best be met in a standalone class, staying part of elementary. So that is our goal to move to that and move back from that. Will we have advanced study options for students who excel, similar to public school GATE program? Again, this is a question when I've spoken with the junior high teachers and some of the other classroom teachers. Some of the restructuring that we're going to be doing, we will be able to probably meet the needs of those students who would be considered GATE in public schools, even though the GATE program in public schools is changing and they don't have, not every school has a standalone GATE program anymore. But we do want to make sure to challenge our students to the best of our ability to make sure that they are continuing to grow. We don't want to stifle any students by saying, this is as far as you can go, and that's it, buddy. But we want to look at ways that we can do that. And when the need is there, and if we can create the atmosphere, the scheduling that works for everybody, that would be our goal, is to help those students continue to excel and move forward.
Also, just so you know, enrichment programs as such come under what we call resource. And resource ministers and helps kids who may be behind, but it also helps kids who are advanced. We've already been doing some of that with our current resource teacher. So the philosophy to do that is there. Whether it looks like, quote, GATE is probably not exactly like the public schools would do it. I think we'd do it better. And I think we could cause it to be more individually special for those kids. And so I have, and I know that Mrs. Jensen does too, I have such an incredible desire to see the needs of all of our kids met. We're not a prep school where you've got to meet this standard that's getting you ready to go to MIT as soon as you get into ninth grade. It's more preparing our kids for high school so that then they can make those decisions for college. And the thing is that not every kid is an academic genius. So we want to make sure that those kids get their needs met. And we want to make sure that the kids who are ready to move on have the opportunity to do that as well.
Let me just add something too. One of the best things about that first question that I answered about the team and having 3 administrators and how that looks, and can we afford it? Can we do it? This is one of the biggest reasons, biggest wins of having a team like this, where all these aspects of a school, what makes it successful, what makes it run, what makes it amazing, they're hard to throw on one person. And if Phil would be the first one to tell you, that was not an easy spot for him to be everything he needed for the admin, for the board, everything he needed for all the teachers at the same time, everything he needed for across the board, curriculum, conversations, all of it. But now being able to say, okay, I can look at these things and make them great. And for Lori to be able to say, I can look at these things, the curriculum, the instruction, what's going on, and make it great. And for Mike to be able to say, I can look at the student needs and what's happening and how to develop our students well and make it great. That is why this team really was built. And that hope is that this is what some of the things we are able to feel and experience. This is what will begin to be some of the fruit of that and a team like this coming in. So just wanted to say that.
And by the way, thank you to the Bridge for relieving me of all those other duties and making it possible for us to bring on a great team. We had a great team this year, and God was good to us. But I just want to say I'm grateful for the changes that are taking place, because it makes my heart feel good to know that this lady and Mike Margie are going to make our campus better than it's ever been. So God is good. Question: will we have elementary C&R summer camp, and any plans for summer enrichment programs in the future? The answer is we are not having C&R summer camp because we're still not sure what the restrictions are going to be. And let me explain that preschool is considered an essential service, and that the summer day camp may not be. So we are not proceeding this year. However, there's a massive, massive effort and vision to build the C&R program, not just for summer, but for during the regular school year. So we're discussing that. We'll get more details to you about that. We have some decisions to make, but I am thrilled to say that that's on the table and it's on the front burner, so that our after school care will be, you may not like it as parents because your kid's going to be begging to go, and you're going to have to pay extra for that. So, I don't know what to tell you, but that's the goal we have. So your kids are enjoying being at school all the time, before and after school. So yeah, big plans.
The next question is, will we still have our extracurricular classes like clay, musical, Lego, chess? Yes, those are vitally important. So all of those extracurricular classes will continue, and we will look to add a few more that we also offered at Saddleback if this school population wants to embrace the additions. But everything that you guys are currently doing as far as after school are very important, and they will need to stay intact. And we haven't had a discussion about removing any of those. So.
This is an interesting question. Will we have more junior high electives or more kids in individual elective classes than we do now? I'm thinking that our elective structure is going to probably remain the same because it's what logistically works. So as we expand, and we want to provide those opportunities for the students. And just to talk about right now, we have drama, we have yearbook. Spanish is an elective also. So I think, considering the size of our school, we have a pretty good offering for those students, but at the same time, they have to take their core classes and be strong in that as well. So as we expand, that will give us more options for more electives in the future, but you can probably look for this next year to be pretty much the same.
And a lot of electives also will be, I don't want you to take the term student driven the wrong way, but if there is a need for our students to advance in something that we're not currently offering, to give them another option. Because the great thing about junior high is that's a great time for them to explore some things, because once they get into high school, they're kind of set on what electives they can take or what courses they can take. So if we can expand the junior high elective offerings and stay under budget and have the right person in those positions, that would be great for the students. But again, we're talking with the teachers. We are making sure that everything that we do is for the best for our students' experience.
Okay. All right. Info on fall, the COVID thing, kids be able to eat, play, have partitions, etc. That is the elephant in the room, guys. It really is. And I have to be honest with you. Our heart would be to make school look as normal as possible, which would mean options for safety. We will be taking every precaution we can, and we can't give you the exact details because we don't know what freedoms we're going to have and what we're going to be required to do. We're asking ourselves those same questions. So we want you to know that we are very, very daily staying on top of that stuff to try to get something conclusive to you. We're hoping to have a document out to you explaining that in just a few days. I think last week I said the earliest we would get that to you would be mid-June, and I want to reiterate that the earliest we would let you know that will be mid-June, maybe a little bit later. Some of the things we are doing, we're going to introduce training to our staff on the COVID protocols. And that's one thing that we're going to be doing, is making sure that our staff and especially our administrators know what we need to do. One of the things we're looking at too, and I just want to share this with you, is making sure that anybody has a fever, or staff or otherwise, they go home. And if a child has a fever, do not send them to school. So we're going to be even more hard on those particular things, but there's more in addition to that. I don't know the whole thing on masks yet. I don't know the whole thing on other precautions that are in there. So I just want to be honest with you. I want to be transparent with you. We don't know yet. And so just pray with us, is that God will give us wisdom and will give our leaders the ability to give us decisive answers so we can move forward with our plans. It is frustrating for you and for us, but we understand what the questions are. So thank you for answering that. We don't want to tell you something that we don't know yet. So there you have it.
All right, so the next question is about the same school hours, 8:15 to 2:45 for elementary. I hadn't planned on changing anything, had you?
No changes.
I think that's works for me. Any decision on full day kindergarten yet? We've been in discussions. One of the things I would like to do is actually send out a quick email to kindergarten parents, to the JK parents, because I want to understand the question and why it was asked and what concerns pro and con are out there to help make that decision. I think I said last week when I was answering the question, we did have a full day kindergarten at Saddleback because that's what worked for us at Saddleback. I want to make sure that any decisions that we make, whether it's scheduling changes, anything, we want to make the best informed decision, and we want to make it, again, for the best of our students. So I am going to send out a quick email to the currently enrolled kindergarten parents and the currently enrolled JK parents, just to ask that question. But I also don't want to make a decision and change things midstream. You all signed up for a half-day kindergarten. I don't want to make that decision midstream if that's not the best for everybody. So hopefully I will send that email out by Monday at the latest, just to get some feedback from everybody and decide where really is the heart of everyone to do this. And again, make sure it's the best decision for everybody.
I'll read it, and
Okay.
then I'll let you guys answer it.
Okay.
Last question. Will we have any kind of social gathering for the school before school starts in August? Like the vertical worship concert scheduled for July announcement. I'm sorry, that is the answer. We are having the vertical worship concert. We are still looking to have that. So we're excited. That scheduled for July right now. And so Lord willing, we'll be able to do that. And that'll be a huge way for us to get together. But any other ways, other than maybe, any other ways that you guys know of that?
Yeah, we really are. What's been hard for me personally looking at this whole thing is the fact that I love worship and I love time together as a community, and we just haven't been able to have that. So our goal is to have something special. The musical is that we're supposed to do in the fall. We're planning on doing it in August. That's our plans right now. We're going to move forward. It'll be a smaller group of kids, but especially for our 8th graders, as they have worked hard for that, and then many disappointments on events for our graduates. So we're going to do everything we can to make things look as normal as we can under the circumstances. Maybe center a yearbook signing where we have everybody come together and do their yearbook signing. It could be around the concert, but that's a plan that we have so we can get everybody together, so at least you can say goodbye for the summer. And if it's real close to school starting, oh well, we'll do what we can. I know that we're having 8th grade graduation on campus, and we're setting up all the protocols. So anyways, it's a day-to-day thing for us guys, and as a Christian community, being together is paramount. It's one of the greatest things we do as believers. Yeah. So just want to thank you for being with us today. I think that's the conclusion of our questions. If if you're watching this on a recording, we would like for you to know that you can email questions into us. We have one more session. It's next week. We're going to do this again. Mr. Margie will join us at that session. So I'm hoping this is helping some of you. Encourage other parents to join us next week as we do our final broadcast. So God bless you. Have a great week, a great weekend coming up. And again, we love you. We appreciate you.
Thank you for the
being
questions.
with us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.